BrightenedAffinityCommunity.
Hi, I'm Dix, and I'm going to be reviewing and talking about the 4 books that I've read so far in the month of January, along with my next read. So without further ado, let's get started. The first book that I started off in with 2026 is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I hadn't read for a long time before this, and it was a book that I was heard so much about, and especially with there just being a movie released on it, I kind of wanted to see what the deal was with the book. The book is great. I give it 4 stars. It's super enjoyable. This took me 11 days to read though, yet again just because I hadn't read that much before, and it was super interesting, I'll give it that. And when it finally got in, it's definitely a book that you won't want to put down. I found that when I wanted to wake up in the morning, it would be the first thing that I would pick up because I left on a cliffhanger, or the chapter didn't tell me as much, or it left on like a bit of suspense, so that's pretty exciting. Also, just a little backstory. So with this cover, we have Sydney Sweeney, of course, but this book follows a girl called Millie who works for the Winchester's house, and there's a little bit of suspicious things that go around on the Winchester's house. Nina is here. Nina is the person that we talk about quite a lot, or we see her quite a lot throughout the book, and we think she's a little bit of a meanie, but I don't want to spoil it too much, so we're going to leave it with that. But yeah, it's super easy chapters to get through, and it was super enjoyable. I think it's a perfect book to start off with. It's super easy chapters to read. You don't want to put it down. That was my first read of 2026. Then we go on to The Housemaid's Secret. So the Housemaid series is kind of a series, but this is A Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. And I also gave this book 4 stars. It took me a day to read, and this is my favourite book out of the whole series. It was just super interesting. Yet again, we follow the character Millie, and we see that after she works at the Winchesters, she starts a new job. This book is insane. The ending of the book also had me shocked. It's another book that once you get started, you don't want to put it down, and I can tell that because I read it within a day. It's super interesting, super intriguing. The plot twists are insane, and I have to admit that one of my favourite things about the Housemaid series is when you get to a certain part of the book, there's a point of view change, and it will switch between like 2 characters, and that just honestly helps the book so much. The ending I didn't expect, and that's another thing that I enjoy about the Housemaid series, is that it's very unpredictable. You can't predict what's going to happen, or you might, but I definitely didn't predict what was going to happen. This definitely deserved 4 stars, and yet again, it is my favourite out of the Housemaid series. Now, we have The Housemaid is Watching. Unfortunately, this one didn't get a high rating, or it is such a high rating. I gave it 3 stars, and it's only because with the first 2 Housemaid books, you get quite into the story very quickly, whereas this one, I think it takes a little bit longer, and I couldn't enjoy the book as much because it felt like it was taking too long to get something interesting to happen. It took I'm going to say for me it took 20 chapters until I was actually really interested in that, but once you get past that slow point, or the dragon point of the book, it's super interesting, super intriguing. And yet again, the plot twist in this book is also really insane, and yet again, unpredictable. I didn't expect it, and of course, we are still following the character Millie throughout this series. Throughout the entire series, we follow Millie Calloway, and throughout different things. This one though, if I could have rated it higher, I would have, because the plot twist in this is insane. There's so much tension, so much suspense, and so much your brain is turning and trying to figure out what's the truth and what's a lie. But I had to give it 3 stars only because of, yet again, it didn't catch my interest, and it took me a while to finally get interested in it. And I think this took me maybe 4 days to read. So the most recent read I've done is The Mice of Men by John Steinbeck. This little novel book is so beautiful, and I gave it 5 stars. This book is what I would like to say is a timepiece or like a periodic piece. And one of my goals for this year is to read more like English classics. So starting off with The Mice of Men was definitely a great choice. This book follows two boys, and they have a dream that they're going to have their own like little piece of land and stuff. They work on a ranch, by the way. But one of them has like a learning disability, so he can't remember much, but he can remember what his dream is. Now, I'm not going to dive into the character of Lenny much, but there's so much more to Lenny to find out, but I found him really lovable, super interesting, and I also felt really bad for him. But the one thing I did not expect about this book is the ending. The ending left me shocked, and I could have cried, but I didn't. But yeah, it was such like a shock. Like, the ending was such a shock, and I didn't expect it to happen, and I could have felt frustrated. I could have cried because of how it ended. But yeah, Mice of Men by John Steinbeck. 5 stars, beautiful read. It's only like 104 pages. This also took me a day, and this would 100% be a reread. I think for the reread so far, I would read The Housemaid, The Housemaid's Secret. The Housemaid's Watching is kind of like maybe, I have no idea. But time to move on to my next read. My next read is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Yet again, I want to read a lot more classic books. I started off with Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I have Pride and Prejudice, and then I'm going to read Little Women. I'm super excited to get into this book. It was something that I really wanted to like get into, and I've been hunting for the book for a while. And when I found it, I was like, it's finally time. I'm going to read this. So I'm starting this book today, and hopefully I get quite into it. But I've also heard like some people say that the book isn't good. But I guess it's up for interpretation for me because I'm the one who's reading it. But yeah, that is my first 4 reads of 2026 and my next read for 2026. I think I'll be back at the end of month of January to go over and re-review the books and see what book is the highest rating. But of course the highest one right now is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. If you enjoyed this, let me know, and if you want to hear more about book reviews, also let me know. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to spread a lot of love and positivity. Keep your head up, you're doing amazing, and I'm proud of you, and I'll see you in the next book review.